Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easy Does It, a podcast created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. Rob and I are back with you again, excited for another great episode. Our topic today is the invisible rules of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not talking about the good kind of rules, like treat others with respect or pay yourself first or never stop learning. Not those kind of rules. Those are the good ones that we should all kind of live by.
Bad rules.
Bad rules. They kind of tie to our last episode on self-sabotage, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
They can sometimes keep us from experiencing life fully. So we'll get to that.
For sure.
But first.
I got you. All right. Would you rather, if this is your first time, we always do a would you rather before we start, and I've got one for Meredith. I always like putting her on the spot. So this one here is, would you rather to never be able to use the internet again or have a kazoo sound played every time that you blink?
I feel like you're getting these from the same place because
What are you talking about?
this sound, we did the colors or sound.
Yeah.
We did nothing, something for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Okay. No internet or a kazoo every time I blink.
Yep.
I'm going to have to go with, I would rather have the kazoo every time I blink.
Are you serious? I would have never guessed that.
How can I go without the internet?
I mean, people did it for since we didn't have it prior. What did people have to do? You remember the Encyclopedia Britannica and all that
Yes,
stuff?
you know we had a set at our house.
That's the only way you could find anything.
I loved an encyclopedia.
Yeah,
I
those
bet
were
that's
cool.
not surprising to anyone. But I Google everything now. Everything.
I wish that, Corey, I need you to insert a kazoo sound in the beginning of this for every time that she blinks. There it is. There it is. There it is. There's no way on the world. I would definitely choose never use the internet
Now
again.
I'm going to be like,
I legit, I pieced two of these together. That's why they're so left and right. I was like, she's never going to choose the kazoo ever. Why would you do that?
because I can't give up the internet.
Yes, you can.
Where would I get? Okay, Encyclopedia Britannica has not come out with a new updated version in ages.
Okay,
Where would
time
I get
out.
my
Time out.
information?
What did you do before the internet was what it is today?
I used encyclopedias and went to the
And you were
library.
fine. You survived. Look at you. You're here today. You're not even making any noises over here.
I know, but they haven't. The encyclopedia now lives on the intranets.
Okay, listen to this. You're teaching a class at MJ. You're standing up there. Let's say you go to the tech meeting and no less than 200 times in that 30-minute meeting, me, over and over again. Every time you'd be like, your eyes would be dried up. I'm so sorry, guys. You'd have to give a full explanation before you even got started. You'd have to do it on here.
I know.
We have to bleep you out. It's like a reverse bleep. We have to silence you.
I can't live without the internet.
Okay. You made your bed. You're going to sleep in it. You're going to sleep in it.
Maybe I should try some. I don't blink that much. Don't.
We're going to put in some noises in this. I command it. It's going to happen.
Maybe I'll rewatch and see how many times I blink.
I love going to the woods, like when we go, of course. I like being outside, and it is the nicest thing in the world to just put my phone down and disconnect. Mm-hmm. And when we go, like when I went camping with Brett and all that stuff, we would just turn our phones off. We didn't need them. Mm-hmm. I think we finally turned it on the final day when we're like coming back into town. But it's just nice. You just talk to people or appreciate what's around you and all that. So it's like, I don't need that. The only time that it would be really hard is when you need to like navigate somewhere. I count that as the internet. Mm-hmm. That was horrible before. You use MapQuest.
Yep.
I remember map books here at MJ. Like
Yep.
you'd have to use map books to know where you're going in Charlotte. The TomTom came out, the good old GPS. And I remember a couple of techs had it and they were not cheap. And I remember people like, oh, I just hit what location I go to and it takes me there. I'm like, that is so nice. What street was it on again? And I would go find it. I'm going without the internet. I ain't making no dang kazoo noises.
Okay. I mean, I can appreciate that. I just don't think that I can live that life.
I think you would make it a week and you'd be like, bleep this. this, and you would go right back to
That's
no
possible.
internet.
Maybe if I knew that there was other resources out there that were as updated and trustworthy as the internet, then I could.
Sure. I'm ordering you an Encyclopedia Britannica.
Okay. Or a kazoo, one or the other.
Yep. There's going to be one on your desk Monday.
I'll have to self-kazoo myself.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
See how it feels.
These strange rules that you're living by, I can't get down with. But we're going to talk about that today.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I totally threw us for a loop this week because Rob and I had spent some time brainstorming some topics for the podcast. And then I'm like, wait a second. I have something I feel like I need to like just chat about, or even just, I mean, even if people who are listening kind of feel the same way, I don't know. I just needed to kind of talk this out. And I feel like maybe it's something that either people don't recognize maybe about their lives, or they haven't taken the time to really think about what these rules are that maybe they've kind of self-inflicted. And are those rules still kind of serving their best interests, which kind of is why this ties back to the self-sabotage episode from last time. So here's the backstory of how this came up. So Monday, we had our third annual golf tournament for Levine's, and it was amazing. Thank you to everybody.
All the volunteers, yeah.
I know.
Huge.
It was so great. The sponsors were great. It was just, the day was beautiful. We raised a lot of money. We'll have that total for you guys at some point. But it was just so wonderful. Anyway, I do a lot of back work for the golf tournament, just making sure everything's organized, making sure the volunteers are there. We have everything organized. Tiffany and I work really closely for that event. So I got home Monday night and I was washing dishes. Mila wasn't feeling well. And so we were talking about her staying home the next day from school. And so I don't think she probably just wanted somebody to stay home with her. Which if she did, that's really sweet. But she said, she asked me, like, you've been working a lot lately, Mom. Are you going to stay home tomorrow too? And just like rest and recharge? Because like today was your big day, of the golf tournament, and now it's over. Are you going to kind of just take a day? And I said, well, first I thought to myself, my initial reaction to her was, that's not how it works, honey. That was my first thought, is that's not how it works. Mm-hmm. But then I stopped myself because I was like, but that is how it can work.
Right.
I could say I need a day to rest, recharge, get myself back together after a big event like that, or after a lot of things going on. But then, so I didn't say that, because I don't want her to think that you can't rest and you can't recharge after you've had a lot of things going on. You should do that. That's like, your body like needs that. We've talked about that on here before, that rest is something we need. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. And so then I thought, like, that's just not who I am. I'm not somebody who takes a day off after a big event or after I've had a lot going on. That's just not who I am. But then that also didn't seem right. Like it was like, well, why is it not who you are?
Yeah.
And
what did you say in that moment?
I was like, no, I just said, no, honey, I'm not gonna take a day off tomorrow. I have some other things already scheduled at work. I can't miss out on. I was teaching a class the next day for a couple of hours.
And by the way, I know you're sick, but you're going to school. Okay.
Okay. So that's the same kind of thing. Up until when I think about these things, I'm just like, you're so ridiculous. Up until recently, in the past couple of years, our rule at our house has been, you go to school unless you have a fever, you are vomiting, or you have diarrhea. That's probably the first time we've ever mentioned diarrhea.
Very valid. Very valid.
We're going to a new place today talking about diarrhea. Anyway, that's been our rule in our house. And I don't know even where that came from.
Yeah.
Like, and so I have probably sent my kids to school just like where they were going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Like Mila, she just has a cold. I mean, her nose is running. She's blowing her nose. It's like, it's that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. She hasn't run a fever, nothing like that, or had the other two items that would have warranted a day.
What were the other two?
So, but I don't know why I've changed. I don't know why I've felt differently about it, but it was like, I could tell yesterday or that night that if I had made her go to school the next day, she would have been miserable.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just stay home. Let's just nip this in the bud. Let's get a good night's sleep. Let's get a day of rest. Like, let's take care of it now so you can feel better later on in the week. But then that too is like, where are these rules coming from? This rule that I can't take a day off to rest and relax. This rule that like, that's not who I am. I am the person who comes to work when they are sick. And maybe that's from teaching. I don't know, because in teaching, it's harder to make lesson plans than it is to just show up sick and teach.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just started kind of thinking about this and like, where do these rules come from? Why can't I allow myself to relax?
I think even the same, like when I come home from, I know everybody finds themselves in that spot where like, you come home from vacation, you're tired from vacation, you need an extra day from vacation before you go back to work. Always was the one. I'm like, I'll just go to work tomorrow. Who cares? I just came back from vacation. That's ridiculous. Probably not until the past like 2-3 years. I'm like, I'm taking an extra day. And it is nice. I think this last time I took a day and I'm like, thank the Lord I did, because I was so tired. But who does make those rules?
Well, of course, I researched that. I did also think about, like, is it generational?
Yeah.
Like Tamila, it would have been nothing in her mind for me to say, it was a lot getting ready for the golf tournament. It was a long day at the golf tournament. I'm going to give myself some time tomorrow to just rest and recharge. Just saying it makes me feel like I'm like
a slacker.
Yeah. Like relaxing equals lazy.
Yeah.
Where did I learn that? Anyway,
I don't know.
So then I started thinking, how do I don't want my kids to grow up not understanding what it means to work hard. Do you know what I mean? So like if I say, yep, it's fine. Every time you feel a little rest coming on, you can just, it's like, then I don't know how to model that appropriately for them, or to say to them like, it's okay to rest when you need to rest. But then like, where do you draw the line with that? Do then, if I go too far with that, does that then indicate to them that like, we could just take a whole week and rest?
What value do you place on them growing up being hard workers?
Probably a lot. Because that's a value of mine. Like I would like people to describe me at the end of the day, at the end of this life, as a hard worker, someone who got things done.
Why?
Well, just probably go back to some other episodes. I do think that I tie that a lot to my worth, which we've talked about that before, like hustling for your worth, that kind of thing. I do think that part of it is that is what I saw my parents do. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the things that I wrote down about where does this come from? These types of invisible rules we have, they don't come out of nowhere. They tend to develop over long periods of time. Our early experiences that we have, both my parents worked a lot. And, it was like, I feel like I always saw them busy. So maybe I just internalized that as, we don't rest really. I don't ever remember them being super strict about like us going to school and don't stay home when you're sick and that kind of thing. But there definitely was not like, we're just going to take a rest day.
Yeah.
I mean, there was none of that. I mean, I played sports hurt. I played sports sick. If my team depended on me, like I better be dying.
Yeah.
I've missed very, very few practices and competitions in my life. So I'm sure those experiences kind of developed some of these rules that I now
Right.
live by.
Do you feel like the values that you have in your life you chose?
I think I'm doing better now at defining what those are, but I think a lot of them are heavily influenced by the way that I was raised.
Yeah.
And, who I do think some of it has to do with who I am as a person. I am a firstborn type A. Like I think naturally it's hard for me to relax, if that makes sense. So I do think it is part of who I am. But it is just, I started really thinking about what would it look like for me to just take a day off to relax. I don't even think I could do it.
You're bad.
I'm like, yeah, I don't even know that I could physically do it.
I'm sure it would feel very strange. And I'm sure it'd be, even if you did take the day, it would probably be hard for you to sit there and relax.
Yeah, I don't even honestly know what that would look like.
When was the last time you sat on the couch for the day and watched TV or read your book? I know you more read books, but you sat there and did that and didn't clean. Like didn't touch a dish. Y'all are on your own for dinner tonight just because you felt like it.
Yeah, no.
Come on now.
I can't even remember.
The girls probably can make a sandwich. They could probably make some mean mac and cheese.
Yes, those girls cook better than I can.
Yeah, there
Michael,
you go.
he got them whipped into shape.
I know Michael usually cooks.
Yeah.
He likes to cook, but
I mean, I do sit and read sometimes, like on the weekends.
what's the longest you've read before? Straight.
Oh,
Let me just tell you right now.
hours. Hours. Not recently though.
Yeah.
I mean, recently though, I feel like I've been finding it hard to devote time to that kind of thing. So I do then, because then I wonder what kind of example am I setting, and also too, how would it benefit me? That was one of the questions is like, what is it keeping me from experiencing? Would I be better at all the things I'm doing if I did just take some time to rest and recharge?
Yeah.
So, and I think this is just an example. Like I wrote some down. There's other examples of these types of like rules. Because I think this is just one example. Like mine is rest is lazy, I think. I think that's part of it. The other ones, don't cry, be tough.
Yep.
Means like, don't you show your feelings, right?
I literally heard on the softball field this past tournament, why are you crying right now?
Oh, I've said that too, so I don't know why I'm making that noise.
What's there to cry about? You messed up, who cares? And it's like, yeah. I mean, if you're upset, that's okay. What do we do from here? I think is probably the better avenue, but why are you crying? Because it's like, it's almost like you're crying, it's embarrassing me.
Yeah.
And it's more about you than it is for them. It's probably a big moment for them. That's why they're crying.
Yeah.
Now you do have some kids that cry a lot. And it's like, why are you crying again? Stop it. And it's like, what are you doing? But
suck those tears back in.
yeah, put them back. So I don't know. There were some statements as I was doing some research and looking, and they were saying most of us never really ask why we believe these things. We just follow them. Mm-hmm. Some of them were similar to what you're saying. We believe that we should work hard. We should be productive. We should rest, but only when work is done. Or we should hustle to earn our worth. And it may not look like that or sound like that in our mind, but really for everybody out there, it's what should you do? So what practices are you following that you feel like you should do or we must do? I must go to the gym 5 days a week. I must get to work early and stay late because I should be this type of person in this world. My mom and dad said this or whatever. And I think we have to peel all of that back to look at what values do I actually hold for myself and be willing to challenge the values that were placed there for me. And so what you're saying with, I shouldn't rest, resting is lazy. In what aspect? When is it okay that we rest? should I stay up late to get things done, or should I have possibly planned for those things? You need to be a multi-sport kid, or I need to have X, Y, and Z in my life because this is what it brings for me. Well, who decided that? I do believe that God designs us and gives us certain propensities to lean certain ways. Some people are more laid back. Some people are more drivers, or you might have type A, whatever. So everybody's on the spectrum when it comes to how we're formed. And I don't think that we should change that. That's a belief of mine. What should we be or should we not be? I think we're designed in a certain way, but also that doesn't mean that we can't have certain practices or behaviors that are in addition to that, or may lead us in a different direction. I know for me, between me and Susie, I know that she's more of a driver. I know that she likes to get things done, and like I'm not going to chill out until everything's put away. We'll come back from vacation, clothes are in the washer, right? Which is cool. It's great. I might go put mine in another room. Like I'm going to get that one later, and it might be a day, sometimes. Sometimes what's funny is I don't know where this comes from because I won't unpack, but when we get to a place, oftentimes I'll take everything out of my bag and put it into the drawers. I like to do that first. So there's like weird things that come up. I'm like, I don't know where that came from. It just feels right. So why does it feel right? Why do we do these things? Have we ever challenged those things and say, does it actually serve me?
Yeah.
This is just the way that I am. And so I think for us to move forward, we also have to challenge those beliefs. Brene says there might be an outdated version of yourself, and it says we all have possible gremlins of shame in there of, because I rest, this is what type of person I am.
Sure.
And so she says those inner voices whisper, you're not enough, you haven't done enough, you don't deserve rest. But a lot of times these inner gremlins of shame that pop up, they are self-inflicted. No one's saying those things to you. Maybe people look at you and you interpret that look means, so I need to. And so if everybody else wasn't there, what would you value? If no one had an opinion over how you conducted yourself, what would you value? And you could say that, well, people have expectations of me. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Now, I think that we all owe a certain level of giving to society. Like you can't just truly only live for yourself. I truly believe God put us here to serve each other, love each other, and all that stuff. But that requires some effort. But what does that look like? And how can I serve others? How can I give and all that? Otherwise, we're just self-serving. And I don't think that's what we're here for. But I do believe these beliefs, we have to go back to what are our true values. And when was the last time that you did a value check and figure out what are my values and am I living them? Because if I'm not, then whose values am I living?
Yeah, I think I saw, they called it like a pathway to how these things kind of come about, and kind of these things you're talking about. It leads us to believe that we have to continue to do the same thing over and over again. This structure works for almost every rule that people live by, like these invisible rules. So something happens, an event. I'll just use an example. And this example is also an example for me. An event happens. Parent praises child only when they get A's. Okay, let me just step back and say too, my parents are wonderful people. And I do believe that everybody is doing the best that they can. One day, Mila, she's going to talk about what I did too. So
I'm sure.
This is, everybody's doing the best that they can. Okay, so event. Parent praises child only when they get A's. The belief that then the child starts to kind of take on, I'm only valuable when I succeed. The rule then becomes, I must always achieve, never fail. The short-term payoff, like in the short term for that rule, is you get more praise, you get more attention, you start to form your sense of self-worth. And then the long-term consequences, though, of that are perfectionism and fear of risk-taking, burnout, anxiety, those types of things. So basically what they said was you can look at any belief. If it's, I must never show feelings. If it is, I must always be productive, stay quiet, don't rock the boat, always follow the rules. right? That's another one of mine. If you take any of those beliefs, you can run them through that same pathway. An event happens, a belief is formed. The belief is kind of reinforced in the short term, so you make it a rule. And then the long-term consequences, of course, come later on. This one about the A's, that's your girl. Okay. That is me. And I did not recognize that until much later on in life. I recognize that that's where a lot of the perfectionism comes from, is because there was a lot of praise and attention for those things, my accomplishments. And so now I guess part of this is if I'm not working, if I'm not doing things, then how can I accomplish anything? Mm-hmm. I can't. If I'm resting and reading on the couch, how can I accomplish anything? And so I can see now how all of these things kind of tie together. And obviously I don't think that my parents they did anything that it is like normal for us to praise the A's, right? I'm not saying not to praise the A's either. But there's a lot that went into that. You know, there's failures that go into that. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I think now we know better as parents too, is like to praise the effort and things like that. Right. But I can just see how, as we kind of look through this kind of pathway, is now I'm to a place where I can do exactly what you're talking about. Is, can I look at this and see how is this serving me now? Mm-hmm. And does it align with my values or what I feel the most passionate about? What do I want to model for my children? I think is one of the things right now that I think about the most is what do I want to model for them? And maybe that's a value. I don't know what value that is.
That's so good. I mean, that should be the question that every parent asks themselves often. That's very simple, but huge. What do I want to model for my kids? Because our values, I was just thinking as you were saying it, our values equal the repetition, how we behave in the house. And so we as parents have a massive, massive impact on how our children develop and what types of people they grow into. Hopefully we take our learnings and pass down, okay, this is what I learned, but I don't want that for you because this is where it's led me. I won't say our lives become dead ends. Like, our lives become what they do, but it's like, man, if you want to live this way, you can, but there are a ton of other ways we can do this. And so you hope to give them the choice to choose their path versus being a heavy influence of like, this is the path you should go down. Right. I think we have to, I say this in class all the time, don't shit on people. Like, do not tell people what they should do. Maybe ask questions and help them figure out what is the best path for them. Because ultimately, same thing with your customers is when you're, working through some options with somebody and you're like, hey, there's a lot of ways we can do this. I just want to make sure that you're happy and well-informed and just help you make the best decision possible and take yourself out of it. If people ask you for your advice or opinion, it's like, hey, look, this is not my house. I want you to be happy with it. Now, some of my customers have gone down X, Y, and Z paths, but you got to figure out what makes sense to you. And sometimes it's easier, like, which one can we just rule out? And then it comes down to a 50-50. And then it's like, look, it's your choice.
Yep.
So same thing with our kids. I think there are good values that we can instill in them to make them good functioning members of society. They're contributing. We don't want them to grow up deadbeats, Yeah. But those values create repetition, our reps in the house to teach them this is the path. Sometimes the ignorance to our own repetitions, they still point to our values, but that ignorance of like, whatever, like you let your kid run. There's some kids that just run rampant that I see. And I'm like, where are your parents? Going to ball tournaments, there are kids everywhere. They're running all over the place. And I'm like, this is great. I'm glad they're having a good time, but where are your parents? What are you doing over here? And then I look and I just follow just to see, because they keep coming back, and I'll look and they'll run all the way to the other side and go talk to their parents. I'm like, they have no idea where their parents are. They have no idea where their kids are. It's like, whatever. There's like some kids that were playing in the parking lot, throwing rocks in the parking lot around people's cars. And I'm like, I'd lose my mind. If my car got hit by a rock, I would lose my mind. Kid would get dropped. Where are your parents? You know what? You don't know where they are and they don't know where you are. Good. Good.
I'm going to give you some lessons.
Put that rock down. I'll teach you a value right now. You want some reps? Cacao. So I do think that we have to recognize sometimes all of our behaviors do align to our values. We may have some values that we might need to change because not all values are good, or taken too far could be bad. You were talking about rest. Can you rest guilt-free? It's like, well, you were talking about resting earlier, and I wrote down, what are you accomplishing by resting? Because I think if I'm resting because I need it, it's helping me recharge. Rest helps me be stronger. And so just changing the value from rest equals laziness, but rest actually makes me more productive.
Mm-hmm.
I need rest besides just the 12 hours that you sleep at night because you go to bed at 7. So it's like I got to figure out what does rest equal for me and shape and reshift that value, because we all need it and we all deserve it.
Yeah.
You work really hard. I can't believe what the golf tournament turned into, and knowing that you were behind the scenes orchestrating the puppet master back there, and you made it look effortless. Every time I roll back up in the car, you're just sitting up there, listening to some music, doing your thing. You were having a great time. And to be able to do that and your hair didn't off all that, that's a good accomplishment. You deserve rest.
Yeah.
So I think we have to recognize certain behaviors may just be rooted in a value that could be reshifted. Mm-hmm. And if there were no rules and we can rewrite the rules of our life, would you still keep the same values that you do objectively, which is challenging to look at values, but just look at them and say, is this the right value for me, or are there other options here? Because those new values can lead to new destinations.
Yeah. And I've always said that I know that one of my values, first and foremost, is my family. So if I value my family, then I think kind of reshaping, like you're talking about, the rest and the recharging helps me to be better for them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's hard for me to see in the short term. It's hard to think of the long list of things to do and then say, this will make me better later. Because it's just like, nope, there's just too many things to do. I don't have time for that. I sent something, I think I sent it to the training team and to my peer groups this week. I got it from the James Clear email, I think. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but something along the lines of like, if I asked you to list the things that you love most in this life, how long would it take you to say yourself? I was like,
dang it, James.
Please, forever. It would not even cross my mind to say the things that I love the most in this life. It would literally not even cross my mind for me to be like, me, I love me.
No.
It would not cross my mind. Because when you're asked that question, it wouldn't even register.
Yeah.
But if I did love myself and value myself, then resting would be a part of what I do to love myself, and recharging my batteries. So I think it was just like, daggone.
What else would you do? Like if you went back and said that this is going to be, I know you would not even have that on the top. That would probably not be the first thing on your list. I love myself. And then I love, like, there's no way, even now you'd be like, that ain't going to end up on the top of my list. But what would be the result of believing that thought? What would change for you? I love me.
I think that it would certainly change like where you put yourself. I think that's another, I didn't write this one down, but I do think that is, I think that's another one of these kind of rules is put others before yourself. I also saw that modeled for me in my home. My mom, that woman will work herself to the bone, to like right now at the church in my hometown. She works herself to death to make sure everything is just how it needs to be. Putting a lot of those things, staying up late at night, and I saw that modeled as well. And so I do think that that's another one of these beliefs that probably somehow, some way is like putting others before yourself. But if I could say I love myself, doesn't mean I love others any less. It just puts me in the same puts me in the same ballpark with all these other people that I'm putting above me. I think it would for sure, like in these types of situations, like Mila asking me if I was going to take a day, it might be like, you know what? Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah.
If I was able to kind of put myself first in those types of situations.
Let's play a little game here.
Oh boy.
Let's say both of us say that that's going to be somewhere on our list, higher up than it probably should be. And we worked down the list and we said, hey, this is my value. This is my value. And then we finally get to me, like you and I. What would be a couple of things you would change? Take a day off.
I would take a day off.
What else?
I think I would probably be able to say no a little bit more than I do now, because I think that's kind of this natural thing of putting others above yourself, is that you find yourself with a list a mile long. I was just talking to Shallon about this the other day. You know, it's like I'm doing a lot of things and I feel like the things I'm doing are good. But am I putting my best effort into everything that I have going on right now? And I don't know that I can answer that as yes, because probably I've said yes to too many things.
Yeah.
So definitely I think I would have an easier time saying no if I loved myself more. I think that I would be okay when things aren't, be more okay when things aren't perfect. I have gotten much better about that, by the way.
Yeah.
But I still think I have some work to do in that area as well. It's like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to take a risk. I think I would be better in those areas if I was just loving myself as I am. This is me. This, what you see is what you get. I would probably be able to let go of some of those things a little bit more.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm not done with you yet.
Oh, okay. That's how this experiment's working. This sounds like this Instagram.
And you could do the same thing for
We're
me.
going back to the Instagram.
You could do this for you out there while we're doing this. Ask yourself these questions. Do you feel like that those are the easy answers?
Yes, but I don't know any deeper answers to give you right now.
I mean, like, so you talked about some work stuff. You of course we could probably rest more. What's something that you feel like I've always wanted to do this, but I've always told myself no because fill in the blank.
Oh,
maybe family makes this challenging because I feel like if I do this for myself, even if it is by yourself, you feel guilty for doing it.
mm-hmm.
Or I'd love to do this, but I know that Michael might say no or whatever, but it would mean something to me. Are there things like that pop up for you?
I think I would probably do a better job of telling Michael and others what I need. I think I find like that happens at home a lot, is like, you know, I need someone to freaking help me. Like, I am overwhelmed. There's too many things to do. I need help. I think that I don't often say things like that, and which of course is to my own detriment.
For fear of what?
Probably them not needing me as much.
We're there.
I want them to not need me as much, but I need them to need me all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a tough spot.
Yep.
I think they probably all know that they need you tremendously.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm proud. It'd be interesting to see if they had to. I'm sure they probably do things for themselves.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. Mm-hmm. But what it would look like if they needed to do it more often.
Yep.
I'm sure they would recognize, I really need mom right now because I don't want to do this.
Yes.
This is what Michael would sound like.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I call Susie mom all the time. Like, hey, mom, can you help me with this real quick?
There's a meme, probably on Instagram. There's a meme.
You're back on?
I was never off. Okay. Let's just be clear about that.
Okay.
Never off. I sent Corey a message the other day. It said, I need to get my life together. And then I said, it's probably because I didn't get off Instagram.
I don't have any time at all as she's on there.
So anyway, there's a funny meme. Maybe it was on Facebook, but and it's the mom, and she's like on her deathbed, and she's like, and the dad, he kind of leans over and he whispers, "So, what time do the kids get out of school?"
Oh my word! Do you know the password to our bank account?
100%.
Yeah.
100.
I mean, the PTA conference.
What are our kids' teachers' names again?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's so true. I do think if I loved myself more, I would be willing to put myself first more. You asked me the question, the would you rather last week. I would 100% go on a vacation by myself.
Sure.
But that also goes back to the original rule that started this whole thing is what the heck would I even do?
Yeah.
What the heck would I even do on a vacation by myself? I mean, I would read a lot, but I mean, I kid you not, I would probably have my laptop trying to check things off my to-do list.
Yeah. Man, I think that it would be really interesting for that to be an experiment of like, Michael, I am going to take a vacation day Saturday. Or I'm going to take a vacation day. Don't call me. And just go. Like, go do whatever the heck you want to do.
Yeah.
And just see how that is. Now, I was watching something the other day because they were talking about burnout, like how burnout can happen. They were saying that the unfortunate part is watching people that are successful or busy or whatever. They're like, I cannot wait to go on vacation. They go on vacation because they're burnout. And then they come back and they, within a couple weeks, get burnout again because the behaviors didn't change that led to the burnout. And so the vacation is not the solution. It's changing of the behaviors, which goes back to the values. So yeah, taking a day for yourself, like what would I do? And I think that's probably the best question ever is like, I don't know. And I think that's important for us to find what are our values? Like what would help me recharge? What do I want to do that I haven't had time to? And maybe that leads to, hey, I didn't find myself. I need to take another day.
That's right. Maybe 2 days this time.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
Often. I'm glad.
Oh, you're glad I asked?
I'm glad we went through this exercise. So good job. No, you had your second one actually.
No, you're still not. My second one?
Yeah, your second one was my first one.
Okay.
Which was saying, no,
all right, I'll permit this.
Back up. No, I think I have a hard time. Susie will tell you guys this in a second. I have a hard time saying no. I really, really do. I want to help everybody as much as I can. It was actually funny. I was talking to Sam Pace earlier. He came in there. He's like, "You're teaching on Monday, right?" And I was like, "Holy smokes, I don't remember." So I had to go look, and I was like, "I have an opening." Yes, I have an opening. And so I was like, I need to make sure I get the calendar from you to make sure that I am prepared. So I'm going to teach for Monday. But it's like, I want to help. Now, some of that stuff's my own doing. Like my organizational skills have seemingly declined. What are you laughing at? It's true. But I want to help everybody. It does bring me a lot of value. Like it makes me feel good that I was able to help people. And I have a really good friend of mine that we talk off and on. And sometimes it's like, well, what do you need? I'm like, I don't know. Some days I'm like, I just need to be quiet for a little while. Or I would like to like go sit by myself for a little while. There's some days here at the office, I'll go sit at the picnic table by myself and I will not bring my computer. I just bring my like notepad, and if I need to get some work done or I just like need a break, I'll go out there and I'll just be quiet for a little bit, or I'll write some stuff down. It's just sometimes nice to organize my thoughts by getting it out of my head and writing it down. But I say yes a lot because I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there for my wife. I want to be there and be, what people need here. It's hard when you see where people need help and it's like, I can help you. Like I have experienced that myself and I want to help, but it's not often that that goes the other way. And so the no piece would allow me to buy back some more of my time to find out, am I truly living, my values? So I would say probably my first is saying no. I think another one, it's just kind of funny. I'd probably eat more cupcakes. It was funny this morning. I was in the electrical small group. Shout out to my electricians out there. And we just had the PA deal today where we came and celebrated and all that stuff. And Steven brought me a cupcake and he put it right down in front of me. I was like, what's this? He goes, man, you look like you need a cupcake. And I just laughed. And it was a blue one. There's vanilla with the blue icing. And I was like, that looks really good. And then Mike St. Andre's like, I'm going to sit here and wait for you to eat it. Cause he's like, I know you won't do it. And I'm like, I'm probably not, although it looks really good. But it's like, dadgummit, there's a lot of things that I'll like say I'm not going to do just because like I feel like I need to be a certain person. It's not necessarily look a certain way, but it's more I need to be this person and uphold that when it's perfectly fine to do those things or enjoy myself. But I have a constant play going on in my head that I need to be a certain way, look a certain way, be a certain way. And I think that goes back to the values of like, this is the person that I should be. And is it okay that I gain 5 pounds? Or is it okay that I don't go to the gym these days a week? What does it make me feel when I don't go? Like crap. But it does make me feel good when I go because I know I feel better. But at the same time, is it okay that I take time off? Like I feel that guilt often.
Yep.
I'm training for a High Rocks in November. I'm excited about that. I have a teammate. I don't want to let him down and be like the sack of crap out there where I'm like, I'm going to have to hop on your back for this next lap because Brian ain't doing that. So I think that's a story that plays in my head often. That's hard to get out of. So
I do think this identity piece, kind of what you're speaking to, I think that also plays a role in this, is like kind of going back to what I thought about when Mila asked me that, is like, that's not who I am. It's almost like people, in my mind, I don't know that people actually think this about me. In my mind, people have this picture of me, or this interpretation of me that's like, it's like Meredith is like, she's organized and she plans and she gets stuff done. And if you ask her to do it, she'll figure it out. She'll find a way. All of that is true. But then it's almost like sometimes it's like, that's true, but like I too can't plan and organize and orchestrate and find out everything. Like, but that's the perception people have of me, is like she's a doer and a get things done. And so it feels really weird to then say
no.
Right. Because that goes against what I believe people see in me. And so I think then it's like this identity that I have created for myself, whether people think that or not. And I also don't think that people would care as much as I think they do.
Yeah.
Like if someone came to me today and said, I really need your help with this. And I just said, you know what? I just don't know that I can take that on right now. Feels weird even saying it like that. I don't think anybody here would be like, oh, ill.
I would say probably not.
I don't think anybody would even, I think a lot of times people even respect you more when they recognize that you can have a boundary, but then you can also have balance, like in your case with the cupcake. It's like most times I don't, but there are some times when I do. Like that's, to me, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about like with Mila is like, how do I model the right balance for her and for Leah, like this balance between, I do want them to be hard workers. But at the same time, I also want them to be able to sit down and rest and know that that's okay, because that's obviously something that I struggle with. So I do think there's this identity piece that I think plays into all of this. It's like people see me as this type of person. So my decisions and the way I behave.
Screw them.
Screw everybody.
Have your daughters began to subscribe to the there is no rest.
No.
No. So they've
No.
chosen their own path, or do you think they're doing it in rebellion?
I do think some of this goes back to the generational piece. Like Mila is the parent that praises the A's. I do okay. I don't just praise A's. She is very much a student. She wants to do well in school. There's certainly some perfectionism tendencies there that I'm trying to help navigate with her. But homegirl, she will bed rot. That's what she calls it. I guess
I don't like that term.
that's the term. She will bed rot, and she'll say, "Okay, I need to bed rot."
That I don't like that word.
Yeah. So, but she also too is just at a much different place than I was when I was 15. Mila knows, because she and I have had these conversations, that the way she recharges is by being by herself.
Bed rotting.
Or just doing her nails or whatever she's doing. She knows that. I don't know that I knew that about myself.
I think we probably did things that helped us do that, but we weren't aware of it.
Yeah, she knows, like, she'll say, I have hit my social capacity. I need to recharge and be by myself.
She has a good teacher.
I do some things right, but I also screw it up, I'm sure.
What is this bee? I'm just kidding.
So I do think that she has a better balance, but then that makes me wonder if it is a little bit more generational. I do feel like with her generation, they do see the validity in like having more balance in their lives, whereas like my parents, that's not the way that they grew up.
Right.
I mean, it was work. I mean, that's just the way that it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is. Leah's a little bit different because she's my free spirit second child baby. You know, she's just like, okay, you know, whatever. Whereas Mila's a little bit more. Leah would rest without a problem. Mila probably has to be a little bit more thoughtful about it. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Wall-E?
Yes, a long time ago.
I was thinking as you were talking about that with generational behaviors is the beginning of that movie, you know, you're just meeting him and he finds a little plant and he tries to save it. And then he finds the other spaceship or the little, I forget what her name is, whatever. The other one that pops up. But do you remember when they went back to the ship?
No.
They like get back on the ship. They get beamed back up. He goes back and this gigantic, because the Earth has become a wasteland. So they go back up and everyone on the planet or on the ship are big because they've lived up there and like had everything at their fingertips. And so everybody has just like done nothing. So they actually get around in little scooters and do nothing.
Oh.
And so I'm just thinking like our behaviors typically mirror somewhat what society allows. So even if the generational piece is true, which I believe it is, people can or cannot subscribe to that. So even with your two daughters, they seemingly have chosen different subscriptions to that, which makes me think, how many different worlds do we all live in?
Oh.
Each and every one of us chooses. So it's, I'm jumping from movie to movie. I think about Ready Player One. I love that movie. But you put on your little headset and you can choose what game essentially that you play. And you're kind of like in it for real. Like you're moving around and doing all this stuff. But he talks about you could hike Everest with Batman, or you can go to a casino world, or you can do all these different things. And it's all our choice. But we choose what world we want to live in. So even with your daughters, they're choosing that. But they also can choose not to. Yep. And I think that is a huge awareness that we could place in our children and the people around us, that it's okay to break free of that. But it's hard to break free of this world that we've just lived in that just feels right. It's like, it feels right until it doesn't. And then you realize I'm getting a little out of balance here. Because even you talk about generational piece, some of them realize they got to have balance, but sometimes balance is a little off.
Yeah.
Like you resting too much. We were in East Support the other day. We were talking about our words that we didn't like. You know, one of them, one word that I just can't stand.
Chunk.
Yep, I don't like that word. I refuse to say it. Swipe. My mom used to say that. Now bed rot is on that list. I will not subscribe to that. But we have the choice. Like sometimes people go too far in a direction. It's like, this is the life that I want to live. And I think it's okay to be like, yo, if you want to live that life, that's cool. But there are always consequences, good or bad, for whichever choice we do choose. So I think even in this realm that we're talking about today, like these rules that we live by, it is our choice. But we have to recognize if I'm finding myself, things have got me out of balance right now, like me saying no, like I feel like I've said yes to a lot. I've got a big weekend this weekend and I've said yes to it. And I think it's an important cause, but man, it comes with a lot. And so I think we all have to recognize this value that we have in our life. It may not be the value that I would want for myself. And if I had the opportunity to rewrite it, I don't know that I would write this value back in my own playbook. So in our lives, what is the value that you have and which one would you rather subscribe to? I think we all have that opportunity to choose. And for our kids, it's like, daggum, hey, here's what rules I've chosen to live by.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some of these things come naturally in you, which can be powerful for them. But teaching them how to recognize those values and how to make those choices, I feel like that's our charge as parents, to help out with that.
Yeah, I would think too, just recognizing, asking yourself, like when Mila said, are you going to take tomorrow off to like rest? And the first thing I thought was, that's not how it works. Like I would just encourage people to think about, does it have to work that way?
Yeah.
These invisible rules that I live by, that's how it has worked in my life up until this point, is like, no, there's no rest for the weary, right? I mean, you just keep on pushing through, push through.
Yeah. I can guarantee you someone else has found another path to that.
Yes. Yep.
Many people have.
Yeah. And so I think just when you think these things or you find yourself getting ready to say something like that, I was just getting ready to say, that's not how it works, honey. And then I thought, but wait, that is how it works for some people. That's not how it works for me, but that is how it works for some people. So it is possible to recognize this balance that we're trying to find between, rest and work or whatever it is. I mean, this is the one, it's the example we've used today, but there's lots of these internal rules that people take on throughout their lives. And so I think it's worth asking yourself, like, what is it? Where did it come from? Write it down. Is it still serving you? That kind of thing. I think for me, my next steps, which I guess this would be everybody's next steps when you're doing this, is like, I'm going to need to like test the waters. Because how do I get out of this? How do I show myself that this rule doesn't have to be true always? I'm going to have to test the waters. I'm going to have to try something.
That's scary. It's scary testing the waters to figure out what that would look like. When you just said that, it hit me hard thinking about with our kids is that while we have found these values for ourselves, your statement very easily can become that rule for them and that this is the way that it is. And you create that. Like that's a heavy weight to carry to be like, hey, that's not the way that it is, honey. And the kid just goes, okay. And then boom, they're locked in for life. That's a scary pin to have. Like, I'm writing this rule for you and you're going to take it. Like, right?
For the rest of your life.
That's scary. Like that is terrifying. You see the rules written for kids' lives all the time, whether you're at a grocery store, you're at a ball game, sometimes you just hang out with the parents like, I don't know if I want to see how your kids are going to turn out. Like, cause that's the values they have and they have no realization that they're now creating that for their kids. Every choice that we make, every conversation that we have, hopefully we're creating a better life for them, or are we dooming them to our own value system? Like, I think we all have to ask ourselves, what cost does it have for us to continue playing by these rules?
Yeah.
Every rule has a cost, good or bad. Are we choosing the costs that we would have wanted for ourselves, and the same thing for our kids? And if we don't like the cost, we need to change it, but we have to have the courage to change it. We have to have the courage to say no. We have to have the courage to put ourselves on the list. Like, we have to give ourselves permission to put ourselves on the list. Otherwise, nothing changes.
Yep. Okay. I don't really know where to go from here with my little conundrum. Actually, I do think I know. I know now where it comes.
I don't know where to go. I know where to go.
I do think I know where this comes from. Like, I was trying to write down, I do think I know where this belief of mine comes from. I do think I recognize now that it's not true. What's it costing me? I don't know what my replacement rule will be just yet, but I do think that what I need to do next is test it.
Are you talking about specifically rest or choosing?
Yes.
Rest.
Mm-hmm.
So rest equals what for you now?
Being better for my family, my colleagues.
Okay. Rest equals better, or rest equals recharge?
I think
better.
Better.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good change.
Yep. It's not rest is lazy. That's going to be so hard for me to just completely turn that one over.
Rest equals you're trash.
It's going to be so hard for me to turn that one over in my mind. Oh boy. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I think it's like, let's test the waters and see how it goes.
Good.
And then I think you have to do that enough where you get reinforced by your own behavior, and then you feel better, and then you see that you're better.
I'm going to come over. I'm going to come over sometime next week. I'm going to have a post that says PTO on it. I'm going to say, here you go. Disappear. Get out of my sight.
It's time to rest.
It's time to rest.
I'll have a list for the day that I rest.
It's time to be better. I like that.
Maybe that's what I should do. I love to make lists. I should make myself a list. Read for 9 to 10. Read. 10 to 11. Instagram.
Take it off the list. Oh, my word.
12 to 12:30. Lunch.
I wish the kazoos were on your eyelids like right now, because I'd be bleeping all that trash out. Freaking Instagram. Get that out of here.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all fixing me today, listening to my story. But I do hope that listeners, I hope that you all are taking away some things. We all have these invisible rules that we've put on our lives. I think the first thing, like we say all the time on here, is just figuring out what they are. What are these things that you're these boxes maybe that you're putting yourself in? And is that worth your time, energy, and effort anymore? So hopefully you'll start thinking about that, reflecting on that.
You just summarized. Good job.
Yes.
You did.
We haven't done rapid fire recap in about 100 years.
Oh.
Maybe we just both.
You kind of just did that.
I did.
Yeah. Good job.
Maybe we just naturally folded it in. Maybe. All right. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple, and now on YouTube. We will see you guys again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for listening. Peace, love, and easy does it.
I appreciate y'all.